Hi, welcome to my blog. My name is Tom Shue, and today we're going to do another retouching video. In this video, we're going to be working inside Photoshop. Now, I always start in Lightroom with all of my images. Lightroom's like the world's best cataloging program, and it's the world's best archiving program, and it's the world's best database for metadata. I mean, it does everything. However, when you're doing skin retouching, you can get it done in Lightroom, but if you want to do something fast and have it critical, you want to work inside Photoshop. Okay, so I'll show you the before on this image as it was when I came in from camera. Okay, I was shooting at an event. We made this image, and obviously the white balance was not right. So we changed the white balance, and we set a white point and a black point. We added just a little bit of vibrance and a little bit of clarity, so that everything is pretty sharp. Now you can see that she's got some blemishes in her skin, and we're going to go deal with all of these inside of Photoshop. So in order to hand the file over to Photoshop, there's a few ways you can do it. The first way you can do it is just right click and it says Edit in Adobe CS6 or whatever your editing program is. The next way you can do it is you can hit Control or Command E, and that will send it over into Photoshop, and this is what we've done here. So now the image is in Photoshop. The first rule you want to always adhere to is not work on your background layer. Duplicate it, so in case you make some mistakes, you always have that safety net to fall back onto. So in order to duplicate the layer, you can right click and say duplicate layer, or there's a shortcut, and that is Control on Windows, Command on a Mac, J. So that just duplicates the layer. So let's zoom in here. If you hit the Z key, you'll see the plus sign. That means we're zooming in. And when you left click, it will bring you all the way up to whatever level you want. And in this case, we'll be at 100%. Okay. Now if you hit the J key, the J, it will bring you over to these healing brushes. And in this case, we're going to be working with a spot healing brush. So this will quickly make short work of these blemishes. You just click and drag wherever. I try to keep the brush size pretty small and it's pretty soft. Let me show you my trick for making the brush bigger or smaller. You can come over here. There's so many ways to do anything in Photoshop, but I like to use shortcuts. One way to adjust the brush size is drop it down and do your brush your hardness and your size here. Another way to do it is with the bracket keys, left bracket and right bracket. Okay. Or the way I like to do it, and that's the Control key and Alt, or Command and Option. And if you hold down those two and you right click, when you move left to right, that's going to adjust the size, and if you move up or down, it's going to adjust the hardness. Okay, so let's adjust this brush size down, and let's go ahead and get rid of that little scar there and that little one there. Okay, let's look around here and see if we can find some more stuff that we may not want. Now I'm just going to go as quickly as I can for this tutorial. The last one was pretty long. It was probably around 22 minutes or something. And we're at 3 minutes and we're already retouching the skin. We're getting blemishes, and we're going to almost be done with this real quick. Let's take a look. There's another little thing right there. I don't know what that was. This one on her lip. Maybe this right here. Okay, and you can really nitpick this stuff. But that's not what I want to do. I just want to come through and get all of these things that I can see easily with my eye and take them out. Let's see if she's got anything on her hands. She's got a couple spots here. Maybe a couple freckles. Now, you don't need to go in and do this stuff, but I'm silly like that. Okay, let's get this one out of here. Maybe that one and that one. Oop, there's another little thing. See how quick it is just to get rid of all this stuff? Sometimes they'll have like hangnails and little things on their fingers. We'll just look at them real quick and see if there's anything that we can get rid of. There's a little mole there. We'll just drag that off. And if you make a mistake and you drag on something that is going to make it look weird, just hit Control or Command Z, and we'll just come to the edge there. Control Z. We'll just leave that one alone. That little mole's going to stay right there. Okay, so it looks like we've got everything we're going to do here. One quick roundabout on the face and the hairline, maybe something right there. Okay, so now we have all that. And so instead of keeping the file size at 124 megs because we have two duplicate layers, we'll right click and we'll flatten it. Okay, so this drops down the document size to 62 megs. Alright, so this makes it work a little faster. Oh, we missed a couple spots. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on the background layer, which I say do not do. But again, we're trying to speed this up for a tutorial, and I'm going to risk it. Okay, so we're fine there. Now the thing I like to do is skin softening. Skin softening, I like to use a plugin to do it. And it's from Imagenomic. It's called Portraiture 2. But I'm going to show you a way to do it in case you don't have that plugin. One way that's not really a respected way, but it used to be the way everyone did it. There's retouching people out there that do this for a living, and they'll say this is not a way to retouch skin. However, it's about the result, right? So what we'll do is we'll duplicate our layer again. Control J, Command J, and we're going to select Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Okay, and we'll put around a 3 pixel blur on the skin. Alright, let's zoom back in to 100%, and you can see that everything's nice and soft. Well, it's a little too soft. You want to see the texture in the skin show. So what we'll do is we'll bring the opacity down until we start to see the texture come back in the skin. And I guess that's somewhere around here. But don't do it all with the opacity. Use some of this fill slider, because it's like the other half of it. Okay, so now I can see the texture in that skin. However, the majority of the skin is softened. So we click it off, you can see maybe we need to bump up the fill just a little bit more. And now you can see that the skin is softened. However, there's a problem. Her lip is soft, and her eyes are soft, and the hair's been softened. We don't want that to happen. So what we'll do is we're going to create a layer mask to hide it, and then we'll paint it on selectively. So what we do is hold down the Alt key, and the Alt key is Option, and we'll click this layer mask icon, and you see that it hides everything. Well, we want to invert that so we can just paint away around the eyes and the lips. So we're going to hold down the Control key, and the Control's Command on the Mac, and hit the I for invert. And now you can see that inverted it. So we'll grab our paintbrush tool, and that's the B key, B as in boy, or you can click here and grab your brush tool. And we want to select and paint in black. So we'll go over and select our layer mask, and when we paint with this black, you can see that it's going to reveal that sharp eye underneath. So we can quickly just paint away that blur. We can grab around this nostril. There's no sense in making the nose, the end part of the nose, soft. And we don't want the teeth to be soft. We're just trying to soften the skin. Okay. And I'm going to do it with the plug-in too. So we need to paint this hair away too. So we're going to zoom out. Okay. And if you hold the space bar, we'll get our hand tool. So we're going to make the brush really big, and we'll just come in here and we'll paint and get rid of this on the hair. You see I went on the face, and see, you're never going to know exactly where you're at. And I'll show you how you tell where you've actually been on the mask, because this is pretty small. Looks like we got pretty much all of it except right on the face. Paint these corners. Now if you use the backslash key, it will show you the mask. Okay, so we're going to zoom in again, and we're going to fix this area in the eyes. Make sure that none of the eye has been painted. So we'll hit the X key, we'll swatch our paint, we'll flip it. So we want to be painting in black, because we want to hide that mask there. And we got a little bit too much up here on the skin, so we hit X again. So we're going to go to our brush tool and hit X again, and we'll just paint in. We'll only want it on the eyebrows, okay? So we had a little bit too much up here on the face. So wherever it's red, that's where it's going to be hiding. And to get rid of that indicator, just hold the backslash key again. And you can see we're soft everywhere, but on the eyes, the hair, and the eyebrows and eyelashes, stuff like that. Okay, well that's not really the way I like to do it. I just wanted to show you can do it without a plugin. This plugin makes short work of this. Okay, so I want to grab this whole layer and throw it in the trash. So we're going to duplicate our layer again, Control J, and again Control is Command on a Mac, and we're going to do Filter. I'll show you how fast you can do this. Imagenomic Portraiture, and this automatically creates a mask for you that doesn't affect the hair. It only stays on the skin. It won't affect the eyes. It'll automatically do it for you. So let's zoom in and get close up over here, and you can see the area around the nose, and you can see that the eye's not affected. The eye's sharp, and we can paint it off too if we like, just like we did before on the eye. So on the default setting it looks pretty good, but I like to look at the normal and see what that looks like as well. Let's pull it back out, make sure it doesn't look too plasticky. I still want to see some texture in the skin, and this plugin sure does a great job at not applying it to the hair or the eyes, but selecting it only to the skin. It's a really great plugin. If you get a chance to get it, you see how the lips are sharp? They're the same, but all of the skin detail is just soft and beautiful. Okay, so we're going to go, I think we'll go with it. Let's look at the default one more time. That looks pretty good. So we'll just go with the default settings. It'll say I want to output this to a new layer. Okay, and it says I can create a transparency mask. We can do that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and just do that. And we're going to click OK right here, and it will send it back and create a new transparency mask layer inside Photoshop. So it's generating that layer now. So you can see, if we get rid of everything, it created this mask of sharpening, except it didn't apply it to the eyes or the lips. And it actually did apply a little bit to the lips. And you can see where it didn't apply it to the hair, and it applied it to the background. So we can just erase everything except on the face. Okay? It did a really nice job. It even softened the skin on her arms. It's pretty impressive. Okay, we'll just pull this layer up and look at it and see if we need to do anything to it. I think it looks pretty good to go, but I'm going to go ahead and erase. Instead of using the paintbrush tool on the layer mask, we'll just use the eraser tool. So we'll size the eraser tool up, and you can make it hard and soft just like the regular one. I like to use a soft brush so I'm not going on the edges. Whoa, Control Z there. And I don't want to erase on this layer, I want to erase on this layer. Because we don't really need softening on her bracelet. Well, we don't need softening on her necklace or her earrings or her hair. So we're just going to take it off, even though it really doesn't need it because it did a great job. I'm just going to take it off anyway. And again, you can apply a mask to this. It just put the whole thing on a layer. Okay, just like we did before, you can apply a mask. Okay, so this looks pretty good to me. I'm just go in here and erase anything that's on the eye. Anything that's on the eye. Anything that's on these teeth. Okay, so let's look at this close up. We're at 100%, and the skin is looking pretty darn good. We still see texture. We get rid of it, and you can see how much that plugin really does for you. Okay, so we're going to flatten this down because our file's getting pretty big. It's 207 megs. So we'll flatten that image. So now let's look at the eyes. If we need to retouch anything on the eyes. Now you'll see that there's some reds in there. Zoom Alt to 100%. Wow, I'm really got you guys getting to feel sick there. I had a sticky key and it's not letting me transition the way I want. So we're going to go in there. We're going to hit Control J again. That's Command on a Mac. And we're going to grab that spot healing brush tool. I'm going to make it really small. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get some of those red lines out of her eye. Okay. Control Z, Control Z. Let me see if I can't do that. That's not going to let me do it that way. So we're going to go down and select the healing brush tool. What this wants, it wants a reference. We're going to click Alt to target an area, and it's basically like the clone stamp. It's going to get rid of it based on that. Okay, so we're going to come over here. We'll select the target here. Let me make this brush a little bit bigger. Not quite so big. And we'll hold down the Alt key and select our reference again. And we'll pull some of this redness out. So you have to refresh your location, or it will sample over some red area and create like a gray tint. And her eyes need to be a little bit brighter. So a few things we could do. Let me just get rid of some more of these veins here. Okay, so let's brighten her eyes. We're going to do this in a curved layer. So we'll flatten the image again, Control J. And I'm just going to do this to brighten the eyes. So we'll do curves, and I'll just drag it up until I see the eyes are as bright as I want them to be. Okay. Now, even though the eyes look like they're a little bit too bright, that's fine. So I can adjust the opacity on it and change that. Okay. So this is on the mask. So we're going to invert that mask again, which is Control I, and we'll use the brush tool to paint that back in. So select it here with the white tool, the white patch. We can see that we just bring that right back in. Okay, now if I want to see where we're applying it, I'm going to hit the backslash key. Okay, so we're going to hit X here. I don't want to apply it on the colors. I don't want to apply it anywhere but right on the whites of the eyes. So we're going to cover that up. Okay. Let's make this brush smaller. Hit X. Okay. Then we're going to hide that by hitting the backslash key again. And I can increase or decrease just the eyes. Let me zoom out so I can see how the whole image looks when they're small. Say for example, when you look at the image when it's small, if you brighten the eyes, they look like an alien. Okay? So I like to look at the image when it's small to see how bright it should be. This is with it off. I'll just bring it up just a hair to brighten the eyes. Okay? So it's like 39% in this case. Looks like where we want it to be. So I'm going to flatten the image again. Okay, so now I might want to do the same technique with a contrast. So we're going to zoom in. So in this case we're Control J again, and we'll make a hue saturation adjustment. Okay, and I don't care what anything looks like but just the eyes. Okay, so let's zoom in again. So may have want to bump the saturation just a hair, and I'm looking just at the color of the eyes. Okay, those are pretty vivid, and I can make, I'm just looking at just the color. As you drop the lightness, the saturation starts to get bright, more rich. Okay, so you see those blues got really rich. Okay, so we can look at this before and after, and it's a subtle change on the eyes. I don't like something that's too dramatic. So we'll close this so that's not hidden, and we'll invert this layer as well. So Control I, and we'll just paint in white on top of the eye itself with our brush tool. So again, we're selected here. Hue saturation. Make sure we're zoomed up. Okay. We're just painting that back in. And you can see it's a subtle change in the color. I don't like to do too much crazy stuff. Okay, then we'll flatten this layer. One last thing I'll do to this image and we'll call it done is I want to create a vignette. So I like to create vignettes with the curves tool. So we'll make a selection with the marquee tool, and we'll drag in a box. Let's say we'll just bring it over just a hair. Bring it up. Okay, then we're going to refine edge. So we'll do select, refine edge, and we'll grab this dialog and we'll go to feather. And this will create a radius on that selection. And if it starts creeping too far in, we just slide on the shift edge and it will kick it out a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll select OK. But our selection is only going to select the inside. We want to select the outside. So we need to invert our selection, which is Control Shift I, or that is Command Shift I on the Mac. And we'll come down here and we'll select curves, and it applies that selection to a curve. Now here's the mask. I'll show you the mask. I'll click on it. So there's the mask. Okay. And when I hit the curves tool and pull it down, it's going to darken the outside edges. So it's doing that four corner burn, just like in the film days. And it kind of directs your eyes to the center of the image. Okay, so there's the vignette. Right click, flatten the image, and then we'll just hit save. Actually, Control S, and it'll save it into Lightroom. So we'll look at our film strip. You'll see this is the TIFF, and this was the one that we sent into Photoshop. So we can select them side by side. So what we can do is with the film strip drop, we can compare the two images. So we'll just shift click and select both images. In Lightroom you hit the C key, C as in Charlie, and that will compare the two. Okay, so you can see there's, from a distance they don't look that much apart. Let's zoom in. This was the one that was original, and this is the one that we edited. I should say, this is the original, this is the one we edited, this is the one we selected, and this is the candidate for review. So you can see the eyes, they've definitely changed. There's a little bit more blue around the edges. The skin is really soft everywhere. You can just see that the image is a lot cleaner. There's a harder vignette around the outside. But overall the image looks pretty good before we brought it in for retouching, but under close scrutiny of a large print, I would go for this image. So we hit the C key to reveal it, and we'll just look at it one more time. See how nice the skin looks? This would be hard to do inside of Lightroom. I want to thank you all for spending another half hour with me looking at a video on retouching. So I want you all to have a great day, and I want to again thank you for stopping by my blog. Until next time, we'll see you soon.